I guess initially it felt like a job because obviously I had all these KPIs that I had to meet, and you know, there was a lot to do, particularly in that first year. But I think very quickly as I got into the job and as I started to meet people in the community and meet some of the artists, it very quickly became a passion.
Accessible Arts began in 1986, and it's a not-for-profit, and like many organisations of that nature, it began through a collective of concerned individuals, people with disabilities, artists, parents and families. And it was established firstly as an incorporated organisation, association, and then gradually it matured into the company that it is today. I'm not really sure where the first location was of the organisation, but it's been down at the wharf at Pier 4 for a number of years, and now we've just moved around to 10 Hickson Road, the Rocks. The driving force around our role at Accessible Arts is it's human right to have access to the arts, and that is one of the central values of the work of Accessible Arts.
Julie Barratt is our Accessible Arts Officer. She works as part of Accessible Arts regional program, and there's a project that's been set up in the region here called Creating Connections. In the past 3 years, Julie's had an incredible impact on the region, not only the region but also on Arts Northern Rivers work as well. I think some of that's best seen with just the amazing projects and activity that's been generated across the region over the last 3 years.
Alyssa was a musician who played clarinet, but we've had to work with Alyssa in a really different way because I can't meet Alyssa in person or talk to her on the phone. It's pretty much that our whole working relationship is done through Facebook and Facebook messaging. And so she's since gone on now to be almost completing an online university arts degree. And Alyssa's work is quite confronting. It's very hyper-real, and it's all based around her the way Alyssa sees the world through her, I guess, illnesses, her OCD, agoraphobia and body dysmorphia. So her work, she did a series of work which were the works that we showed in the 12+3 exhibition, which were a series of hyper-real paintings of hamburgers and chips on a plate.
We were very lucky to get Julie Barratt as the program manager for this 3-year program. That person needs to be a self-starter, needs to be able to work on their own. It's a really remote role because we're based in Sydney and she's in Alstonville near Ballina. They need to be received well by the community. They need to be confident in their field. They need to be very competent and to bring everybody along with them. And Julie had all of those facets.
Another one of the people that I met early on was Darren Green. At our last Accessible Arts Conference in 2012, Darren did a really moving performance at that conference, and that was about his journey through bipolar.
The individuals that Julie has supported in various ways, some of those people have now joined an Artists with Disability run initiative, and I think that's a model way to go forward beyond this project. So if we're fortunate enough to set up any kind of replica of this project in any other region of New South Wales, I think they're the places that we will start. The fact that we've always known that it was a 3-year project and it would end meant that we always had sustainability in our minds.
I know that Sprung would not have happened without Julie Barratt and without Accessible Arts and without the backing and support and the opportunity to make the connections that were necessary for Sprung to become sustainable.
Particularly in the area of dance and movement, I think there have been some incredible developments over the last 3 years since Julie and the Accessible Arts Project have been around. Sprung, for instance, I think is a company that has grown incredibly over that time. And you can see that expressed in not only the grants that they've attracted to support their work, but the work itself and the way that company's expanded and the way it has become, I think it would be fair to say, a leader in the area of integrated dance for this region and potentially the state. And I think it stands, you know, head and shoulders with other integrated dance activity that happens across the country.
And I have no doubt in my mind that if somebody was able to bring those gifts, that backing, the know-how and the inspiration and quiet ability to help support linkages, that this would happen in other communities if they also had the foresight to put somebody in this type of a position, whether that be Accessible Arts or a arts government organisation providing that initial seed. I think 3 years is a minimum period for such a thing to happen, and I do think that Julie brought exceptional qualities to that in her dedication and commitment. I know that she was often working 7 days a week, round the clock, and pulling herself across 20,000 square kilometres.
The Creating Connections project footprint covers a region from Tweed Heads in the north to Taree in the south, and then it also goes west to Kyogle. I was just joking with Paul in the Sydney office last week that I've driven 85,000 kilometres in the last 2 years, which he was saying is equivalent to driving twice around the world.
But then you also see on an individual level as well, artists that have really begun to shine because they've been given that opportunity and that access to arts and creative activity.
There would be 100 or more artists with disability across the region that have been supported or have also come to me for support during that period, and many, many more organisations and groups and galleries that work with artists with disability.
Ultimately, all of the, I think, arts and disability organisations perhaps could have a dream that we don't need to exist in 10, 20, 30 years. We're not there yet in Australia. There's still a great need for advocacy and also for knowledge and confidence, and that's the role of the state peak bodies like Accessible Arts.
I think every regional arts area, there are 14 regional arts boards across the state. I think there's a strong argument for them all to have a disability arts officer attached with them. The other thing, the ingredient that I think that has made this pilot project successful is the other organisations that have supported it. So obviously with Accessible Arts based in Sydney as the parent organisation, if you like, who have been able to support this role, but also the Regional Arts Network as well, and in this case obviously Arts Northern Rivers and our ability to support it too. But I also our organisation comes to it with a broader state connection as well through Regional Arts New South Wales. So it's almost like a Venn diagram, I guess, of these organisations that all come together and bring resources and expertise and experience to make to support a role like this and to make it work. So I think all those things are the ingredients that have made this project successful. But there are also ingredients that can be replicated, and so I think it's a really strong, viable model that can be rolled out across the state.
I don't believe that it required just Julie Barratt. It required the potential for that humus and that funding and that focus to occur on arts and disability within a given region. Somebody who could do the networking and had the both artistic openness and the ability to listen to ideas and to quietly point out the connections that might exist, because a lot of people have ideas that they want to hold on to in a very insular manner, that it has to be just my idea and it has to happen just the way I brought it up. But if they can be shown that there's other people with similar ideas and that there may be mutual benefits and further flowerings from these connections, then things can go a long way and become sustainable.
What I think Accessible Arts has done, what Julie has done, what Creating Connections has done in the region of Arts Northern Rivers and Arts Mid-North Coast has firstly established, yes, programs, projects and initiatives that supported access and participation for anybody with a disability who wanted to engage more fully in the arts. But essentially what's come out of that is that the arts community, from grassroots right through to the peak arts bodies in those communities, have embraced arts and disability and have really realised the contribution that people with disabilities can make to the language of arts, to their own practice, and the contribution just to the arts in general. They've taken that message on and incorporated it into their own programs. That's what I think we've achieved.
I guess what would be amazing for me is that there was someone running a 3-year project like this that was an artist or a person with disability. They're just intrinsically inclusive. They don't have, there's no barriers, there's no competitiveness, there's no, you know, us and them. I think that they have so much to teach all of us, and so I feel very humbled to have been in this position and to have learnt so much.